Excited to chat with you and catch up, man. How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I was kind of, I don't know if we've ever done, like it was scheduled to just be the two of us. And I was thinking, man, this could be 2 hours of great conversation. And then I got a post draft and signing trade deadline virus apparently. But I'm happy. I don't want to get anybody sick. So I'm happy to be doing this from the safety of my own home.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time still. Good balance. We found the balance of like, we can't not have Jim on a road to Wrigley. And at the same time, it's great to talk to you. So, you've been grinding these top 30. This is why you're sick, right? You haven't been sleeping because you're around the clock trying to figure out how to rank the Cub prospects 1 through 30. And you have an update coming out. It's not out yet. I'm always going to bring this up whenever you were on the show, just in case no one understands, or if you're watching for the first time, maybe you don't fully understand the process Jim goes through. So tell me the update that's coming out, what's different about it relative to prior updates.
Okay, well, so we do the first list coming into the season. And then we don't touch it for a while. The only thing we can really do with the list is we can shift guys around if they're on the top 100, or if guys graduate to the big leagues or get traded, we replace them. And then we did kind of what we call a quasi update where we reshuffled the top 10 going into the trade deadline. And now, gloves are off. We can move everybody all around. We're adding the draft guys. As you can see, Cade Townsend's going to be number 4 on that list. And Myles Bailey and Caden Sorrell are in the top 10 as well. And then this will hold us, I guess, till next February. Although, again, we will continue to update it as guys graduate, or if the Cubs make a big trade in the offseason, we'll take guys off and put new guys on.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Cade Townsend at 4 is probably the one that is most intriguing to me. This is an interesting name. At the back half of that first round of the 2026 first-year player draft that we covered from MLB Network and NBC out in Philadelphia, there was a bunch of college pitching back there. And we were skeptical, you, myself, and Alex Cohen on the road to Wrigley prior to the draft that the Cubs would go pitching. They did end up going pitching. They took 11 pitchers in their first 13 picks, and that was highlighted by Cade Townsend from Ole Miss. So he's a fun arm. He feels like a really high floor type, one of the guys I think in that pocket that probably has some of the highest starting pitcher probability. What do you got on Cade Townsend? I wouldn't say this is an aggressive rank, but it's definitely like hey, this guy will impact the Cubs in the future, and you're excited, I imagine, to put him inside your top 5.
I am. I mean, I think you could kind of argue 3, 4, 5, with Conrad, Townsend, and Kepley, depending on how much you want to balance floor and ceiling. I feel like Kepley's got the highest floor. Conrad might have the highest ceiling. We're seeing him get going. What I like about Townsend as a pitcher is he offers both. I mean, you could see, as you mentioned, Lance, I think he's clearly the best pitching prospect in the system. It looks like a starter. He's got a fastball, high spin rates and carry. It's not a lot of run on it, but it's 94, 97 with carry on it. He can really spin a curveball and a slider. He's got some feel for a changeup. So I feel like the floor is, if for whatever reason, he's not the most physical guy, if maybe the fastball gets hit a little bit and he's not a starter, the floor is he could spin the ball so well. I think the breaking stuff and the velocity make him a reliever, but I do think he's going to be a starter. And I think I think you could debate, do you want to put him at 3, 4, or 5? And it is kind of funny. Owen Ayers is rocketed up to number 2, and a year ago we were barely talking about him. But I don't think there's any question Cade Townsend is the best pitcher in the system now.
Owen Ayers, does he catch over or under 55 games for the Cubs next year? What do you think?
Oof.
It's a good over-under, right?
It is. It's tough because, then it's like, so where are Kelly? What are we doing with Kelly and Amaya? What are our
Amaya's still under control. Kelly is a free agent, so I am making you kind of forcing you into the decision that I imagine Jed Hoyer and Carter Hawkins have to make, which is, okay, do you extend Kelly? Then if you do that, what do you do with Ayers? Or do you trust Ayers to take 60 to 70 games in a full season next year?
Yeah. I'm going to take the under. I'll cheat a little bit because he doesn't necessarily, I think they're going to re-sign Kelly. I think the pitchers love throwing to Kelly. I think he fits nicely. It's not going to cost you necessarily an arm and a leg. So I think they bring both guys back. I do think Ayers makes the Cubs at some point. I do think more than Moises Ballesteros, he's equipped to catch that. I talked about this all the time on Road to Wrigley, Lance. Yeah, I say it all the time. When I saw him in the fall league, he was clanking balls. And I don't know if he was trying to frame and he was trying to do that too much and balls where he wasn't receiving as well. But I've talked to a lot of people with other teams because I always joke, every team thinks all their catchers are really good catchers. And then you talk to other teams, they're like, that guy can't catch. So you have to talk to other teams about how good catchers are defensively. And I do think with Ayers, I talked to other teams, and I do think he's improving. I think he's a really good framer. I think he needs to, I think he's cut down on being aggressive about framing. He's got a great arm. It's a 70 arm, and he's athletic enough. I mean, he can play right field a little bit. He can play the corners. He can play first. My big question for him coming into the year was we'd only really seen him in single A in the fall league, and he was old, and they started him in high A, and I want to okay, can he hit double A? Yes, he can. Can he hit triple A? So far, so good. So I do think he gets a decent amount of at-bats with the Cubs next year, but maybe not 55 games behind the plate.
Yeah, I get you. I think that's a fair over-under, and I'm very curious to see what the Cubs do from a catching position standpoint heading into this offseason. Kelly very much is a guy that they obviously love internally. Great guy to talk to. Had a massive knock today and a bunch of other stuff that he does, I think, on and off the field that impacts the Chicago Cubs. And they're 18 games over 500 right now, which is pretty incredible to say. Another name you had on that top 10 I'm curious about is a bit of a deviation from the Cubs' prior draft strategy of going after guys who put the bat on the ball. Caden Sorrell, who you ranked or are going to rank here at 7, is an outfielder who does have some chase in his profile, but the batted ball quality is really good from what I've seen through the data, and he's kind of like an interesting outfielder as well. Does this feel like a deviation perhaps from the kind of names maybe they've gone after in the past, like the Kane Kepleys of the world and even the Brett Batemans? He feels like perhaps he has a higher rung of upside, even if it feels like center field is going to be locked down by MVP for as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make him. I mean, I think he's got a chance to play center, but not with PCA. And I do think both Sorrell and Myles Bailey are different because we've even seen guys like Ethan Conrad, is a contact guy. Matt Shaw was a contact guy. It seems like the Cubs really prioritize guys who put bat to ball, and both Sorrell and Bailey are more power over hit. Sorrell's a lefty bat. It could be 25 to 30 home runs. I mean, he's launch. It's all launch and pull. It gets uphill at times. He chases. He swings through some pitches in the zone because he's aggressive with that uphill hack. But he's a good athlete, too. He's got plus speed. I think he's got a chance to play center. He's got the arm for right. And, so yeah, he is. I do think both the hitters they took, the only 2 hitters they took in their top, I think it was, 13 picks, with Sorrell and Bailey, are very different than the types of hitters they've taken recently. Like, both these guys are very much power over hit guys.
Yeah, I do find that really intriguing. I mean, I know the Cubs love exit velocities and such and definitely pride themselves, I think, on developing that and also taking that internally as a system. But it does feel like in the past, perhaps some of the draft guys haven't gone in that direction. Here's Sorrell, actually, the other day in Myrtle Beach with his first knock. Did you put a comp on him in the draft, Jim, even from an upside standpoint, swing standpoint? Is there anything that kind of jumps out to you that he reminds you of?
I don't think I threw a comp on him. I mean, I do think he does have plus speed. He's not super aggressive on the bases. So I was going to say, like, you could say he might be a 25-25 guy, although he hasn't really shown that kind of thing. I think the cool thing with him, and this isn't a comp, is how many players have both their grandfathers played in the big leagues? Billy Sorrell, who's actually on Fergie Jenkins' rookie card, which was pretty cool. And then his other grandfather, Tom Griffin, led the big leagues in strikeout rate as a rookie in 1969. But he's interesting. I thought they got both those guys, Sorrell and Bailey, in good spots.
And that, I believe, is Fergie Jenkins' rookie card with the Phillies, which is pretty crazy. I think when I heard that on the broadcast, I don't know if you brought that up, I immediately Googled it on eBay, and I definitely am going to buy one of those and make sure the first time I meet Caden Sorrell, I show him the rookie card and get his reaction, because that is what you call good television right there for the most part.